I'm not sure that I mentioned previously when I was introducing myself, I'm the Student Services Manager at Achievement First, a high-performing charter school. I also have a daughter in the public school system who has gone to public schools her whole life, and I also went to public schools. It's extremely important that we invest in our schools. As a city council member, I think it's important that we partner with the school committee to look at exactly where are we focusing the attention on academic performance, what benchmarks are in place, are we meeting those benchmarks, what type of progress are we making, and really start to kind of pair some of those improvement with adequate benchmarks that will support the students within Pawtucket so that they can succeed.
Emmanuel, you're up.
Right, so I too have heard several concerns about our school systems and the performance of individual schools. My children all go to private school. They go to St. Teresa's. My youngest, who's 3, is going to be starting. The reason why they are going to private school instead of public is because we frankly have an under-resourced education system in the city of Pawtucket. Our teachers are overworked and we have too many students per classroom. It doesn't allow for individualized learning, and a lot of these things that we want, like social emotional learning, individualized attention to improve math and reading scores, is not possible when the teacher has 28 kids in one class without any aides, without any assistance. I too agree that we should focus on partnering with the school committee in trying to find solutions. And frankly, I'm not opposed to increasing funding if that funding is attached to performance benchmarks, like improving reading proficiency scores, improving math proficiency scores, even improving attendance. We have to get our kids to school. If they can't go to school because of other socioeconomic factors that are going on, then how do we expect our students to thrive? How do we expect them to be prepared for the workforce? My big concern is that for many years we have focused solely on graduation rates as the thing to improve. And it's great, we want every kid to have a high school diploma. We also want that high school diploma to mean something in the workforce. We don't want our children to have to go to college and take remedial math, remedial English, because they're not really ready to be there. So I would invest in those outcomes. It may be not as much in the appearance of our buildings. We need better infrastructure so our kids can learn safely, but at the same time,
10 seconds.
We need to improve our model of education if we're going to get anywhere as a city.
Thank you. Rodney, you're up.
Well, I'll go back again. I blame the past administrations. Where'd the money go? We need to listen to our teachers. They're on the ground. They're the boots on the ground. We need to listen to our teachers. They know what they need, but unfortunately, our past administration didn't give them the tools or the resources. And so many times I've heard people blame the teachers. Why are our kids, like my nephews, graduated high school here, and one of them can't read or write? Okay, so they were just pushing kids through. They didn't care about anything. Now, almost 6 years ago, the ceilings fell down at one of the schools on the kids. Then they decided to do something. Then they decided we needed money. But we had to go out and borrow that money. So we're going to be paying that money back for a long time. Again, we need to start from scratch. We need to take care of our tax dollars. We have to stop wasting our tax dollars. I personally don't think our school superintendent needs 2 or 3 assistants. I personally don't think every department needs their own attorney. You know, we're just throwing money around. They're throwing money to big business. They're throwing money, on their little section or this and that. We need to get everybody elected by the people of Pawtucket, that includes state representatives and city representatives, to sit down in one room and plan and strategize for Pawtucket. They go off to the State House, we never hear from them again. Mary Messier bragged 5 years ago, 6 years ago, how she did, what a tax break she gave the poor sots, and what a great deal, and they've been so good to us because of it, this and that. I ain't heard from us. I haven't heard from Mary Messier. I'm sure none of you have since this whole poor sots thing.
10 seconds left.
We gotta get back. We gotta get back to the basics.
Okay. Thank you, Rodney. Melissa, you're up.
Okay, so school is a really, 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 really important subject for me. So for me, it's not starting over, well, it's getting back to the roots and really having people in the school committee and in the school administration and working for us that's, you know, willing to get from behind the desk and, you know, put in some extra work. When I was growing up, going to Slater and going to Shea, I couldn't bunk. And the reason why I couldn't bunk, well, if I bunked, I had to go hide somewhere. I could not bunk school on a main road or in a park because if it wasn't my family or my friends of my family or the police or the actual principal getting from behind their desk and coming to get us where we were bunking or where we were eating breakfast to make us go to school, then I wouldn't be where I am today, right? I could have been in a trading school, I could have been going through other things, but people really took their time to put in the extra work on each and every kid. And I don't see that anymore. And that's what I really want to see. So everyone's really worried about, you know, the tests and the benchmarks. So I think that we're going to reach them benchmarks if we really stop paying attention to the kids and stop paying attention to not just the teachers. And here's another thing that we really need to be honest about. You know, the people who are working with our kids, like we have a lot of minorities in our community, right? And the population that's working with our kids, unfortunately, doesn't really match. And not that that is, you know, the number one concern, but some cultural diversity, some cultural awareness. Like, you know, we got a really mix of kids here. That national test, we really got to put some TLC into these kids so that they can get there. And so I think that to address adequate academics is to really put people in them seats that really want to fight and are really going to be there for our kids and make some changes.
Thanks, Melissa. Jim?
All right, thank you for that question. I hope I get this out in 2 minutes because this is extremely important to me and very personal to me. Unfortunately, from the attendance here, I am the only one that's here today that has experience as a school committee member. I was the chairman of the Pawtucket School Committee when we were able to, and our governor is having it in her ad about how she has universal full-day kindergarten. I was the chairman and fought hardly to get all-day kindergarten in every single school during my time as chairman of the Pawtucket School Committee. That was hard. We actually had, that was not a 7-0 vote because they thought it was going to add to the budget. Years ago, we had a little bit of a conflict between the school committee and the administration. We were able to smooth that out because we added no expense to the taxpayers. We had no expense to the school's side budget, and we were able to implement full-day kindergarten because the teachers came to me and talked to me about what a benefit that will be. All-day kindergarten is an extremely important asset, and the city of Pawtucket was a leader statewide in that. I'm very proud of that vote. We also have the Jacqueline Walsh, I was not the chairman, but the Jacqueline Walsh Arts High School was started under my term on the school committee. That is a gem in the city, an absolute gem. We can do more for tuition coming in, I understand that, but that's an absolute gem. Someone talked about the school tiles falling down 6 years ago. I can tell you right here today that we had a comprehensive infrastructure plan in place 8 years ago. 8 years ago. Unfortunately, I'm the only one that's on this panel today to be able to talk about this. 8 years ago, that plan was in place. That was one of my last votes that I took. We now are just getting around 2 of our schools have been gutted and beautified, but that plan was passed 8 years ago.
10 seconds.
And I don't have enough time to talk about anything more, but obviously I'm very passionate about making sure our public education is the best that it can be in this state.